Okay, we are live and letting you into the Zoom room. Awesome. Okay, welcome to day 15. Just making sure all the things are running here. And I'm also looking for something that one of you posted here. Okay, there it is. I wanted today to talk about, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the challenge, and I'll tell you a little bit about my personal experience, because I told you that I would be doing the challenge with you, and I am. So I started yesterday. And I wanted to talk through a little bit of the concepts for why I put the questions in the challenge sheet and why I put them there. If you didn't see the challenge sheet, it's in the Facebook group under the hashtag Healthy for the Holidays. There's a file there. You can find it there. If you're in the Mighty Network group, same place, Healthy for the Holidays topic, you'll find the worksheet there. So hopefully it's easy to find. Let me know if you can't see it. So as you know, we're doing a detox challenge. I'm calling it the sugar detox challenge, but if you're using a different food, just replace that. As I mentioned yesterday, you can choose whatever food you want. Ideally, it's just a food that you are struggling with or that you would prefer to not be eating in the way that you're eating it, okay? And the challenge is to not eat it, super simple. However, yesterday I talked all about the parameters and how to do this differently and what questions to ask differently. So if you want to catch up on that, go look at day 14. Yes, day 14, that was yesterday. And look at the parameters for the challenge. But here's a couple things. So one of you wrote me this morning, and I just wanted to read this to you. This is her words, not mine, right? She said, I chose to accept your challenge. I had gotten in the habit of eating a cookie or two in the afternoon. Yesterday, when I thought I wanted one, I took the chance and gave myself permission. That was a little scary, as my brain said that will never work. I even looked at the cookies and thought, is it worth it? And then immediately, do I really want it? The answer to both was no. I walked away and read a couple of chapters of a good book and did not think of having any for the rest of the day. I can't believe giving myself permission worked. So that was from you. Those were your words, not mine. And this is the interesting thing about giving permission. It feels really scary because we have this false assumption that the thing that is keeping us together, the thing that is keeping us from eating everything in sight, is that we have ourselves on this lockdown, right? That we hold ourselves in line and put ourselves in this box and say, don't do that, don't do that, don't have that, don't eat this, don't eat that. And that's what keeps us held together. That's what we think, that's what we believe. That the more structure we put in place, the more we will comply, right? The paradox of this is that the more we create that structure and the more we clamp down on our behaviors based on external factors, right? External input, external content, meaning someone said I have to do this. Someone said I have to do that. Someone said this is the way to lose weight. Someone said this is the thing I'm supposed to do. Someone said this is not what I'm supposed to do. Those are all external inputs. And then from those external inputs, we make these rules and regulations for ourselves. When we do that, what we're doing is shutting off access to our own internal wisdom and internal knowledge. Now, I'm going to try not to get too far off track today. For those of you that know me well, you know that my work is at the combination of sort of this intuitive internal knowing, but also in combination with the science of what's happening with nutrition. So my big issue with intuitive eating is that when we only use intuitive eating, we ignore the factors that the biochemical reaction to food, right? What's happening in our physiology with the type of food that we're eating, when we're eating, our patterns of eating, that sends a message to our brain on whether or not we want to eat it and how much. So we're not always intuitively aware of what our bodies really need, right? So just to oversimplify it, when you eat a ton of processed foods, that bypasses any of your body's natural cues for satiety and hunger. And it starts to mess with that natural biochemical reaction in the body. And so we can't, in my opinion, we can't just rely on intuitive eating in order to get us where we need to be, because we're ignoring the fact that there are some cues, which we talked about, a couple of weeks ago, that when you start in on Halloween candy and those dopamine pathways get signaled, and now you're reacting to the dopamine pathways, that's not intuitive, right? So when the body says you should eat that Halloween candy, we think that that's oh, my body's telling me to do that. No, that's your brain being biochemically altered because you're eating a processed food, right? So we have to start making decisions at this marriage of, oh, I know what's happening biochemically in my body. And also, I am making room for those intuitive cues that are also there. So it's kind of the marriage of the two. I digress. What I'm talking about today is the part of us that doesn't have access to any more intuitive or connective information in the body, because we have filled up all of our space in our brain with all of these outside rules and regulations. So we get this knowledge from the outside. We say, oh, someone said that was the way to go, or that influencer said she lost weight this way, or that person did this with keto, and so that's what's right for me. That's all external content, right? External indicators. And we take that external information and we apply it to ourselves. And it is a crapshoot, to be honest, on whether or not that external information actually applies for us. Now, because we're so versed in doing that, it feels scary to then strip that all away and say, I give myself full permission to eat. Because of all of those external factors going, oh, don't do that. If you do that, you're going to have too much and you're going to binge and it's going to be overeating. And all of those messages start to come at us really quickly. But as this member beautifully relayed in her comment to me, that she was surprised that it actually worked to give herself full permission to eat. Now, full permission to eat, mind you, means full permission to eat. It's not, well, you can have some, but you can only have this much. Maybe you can have this, but that means you're not going to eat dinner later. There's no conditions on which that food is consumed when you give yourself full permission to eat. My ask of you is that if you're going to give yourself full permission to eat, that you stay mindful and listen for the response, right? And I've been asking you this the whole time, stay connected in that moment. So she had a great outcome with this, and I will tell you my experience yesterday. Now, I'm telling you this because I am at my happiest and healthiest weight. I feel very happy, with my body, in my body. Done a lot of work to get here. Those of you who know me know that this was not always my story. I used all these tools to get myself here. And I don't, struggle with food. I don't struggle with emotional eating anymore. I don't struggle, right? So I tell you that to give you this background to say, even for me, yesterday brought some challenges. And this is the power of food and sort of what it does to our brain chemistry, right? So I knew I was doing with this challenge with you all. I'm super excited to do it. I think I mentioned to you all, I hope I mentioned to you all, running some groups right now, and I can't remember where I said this, but I have been eating more sugar than I care to eat. Nothing wrong with it. I'm not worried about it. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not over consuming it. I'm not binging. There's not even anything particularly wrong other than, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm eating the sugar. I barely even like it. I'm not really even enjoying it. And I'm going, why am I doing this? This doesn't serve me. I don't even like it that much. I mean, sure, it's chocolate. It tastes good, whatever, but I don't even like it that much. What am I doing? I would like to stop doing that. It has become habitual at this point. And so in order to break that cycle, I said, hey, I'm going to jump on this challenge with everybody in my group, right? So I started the challenge yesterday as well. And because I started the challenge, things started to become immediately aware for me. So for instance, after lunch, I had the desire to go have a small piece of chocolate. And I have been doing that sometimes. I've been going to get a small piece of chocolate after lunch and after dinner every day. And because I decided to do this challenge, I was acutely aware of that ping to go get the chocolate, right? And what people normally do is they'll start a fight, they'll start a battle with the brain. Can I have the chocolate? No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. But you should. No, you shouldn't. Are you sure? No, I'm not. And they'll start to battle with the brain. And I tell people, when you get engaged in that battle of should you, shouldn't you, can I or can't I, most of the time you're at the losing end of that, because now you're pulling on willpower, right? Don't do it, 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 in order to not have that behavior. And it eventually it builds, and then we overcompensate. And anyways, it becomes a vicious cycle. So for me yesterday at lunch, I went, interesting. There is that urge for the chocolate. And I was just very aware of how it was automatic. And I committed to staying present with the process. And what came up for me was that lunch didn't feel quite finished, right? I was sort of not satisfied after lunch yesterday, or at least that's what I was telling myself, that the piece of chocolate would sort of signify, oh, lunch is done. I'm satisfied. I had enough. And I committed to staying present in the process. And I went, interesting. Is that true, right? Am I really not satisfied with lunch? Or is that just a very habitual line pattern of thinking that I wasn't even really aware of until I brought it to the surface? Was that just a really habitual pattern of thinking that now I'm giving into, right? So if my thought goes, oh, you're not satisfied after lunch, you need some chocolate to finish it off. And I give into that thought and go, yeah, you're right, I do. Bam, that leads me to the chocolate and the behavior happens, right? That's my prompt to eat chocolate. But yesterday I committed to staying present with it. And I asked myself, I said, do you want to, in day one of this, have this piece of chocolate instead of commit to the challenge that you're committed to sort of trying to break this habitual behavior? And it was very clear for me. I said, no, I don't. That chocolate is not even that worth it, not even that good. And I'm committed to this. So it was a pretty easy decision, not a very big deal. I walked away from the chocolate and I went back to work and my next meeting, and it was gone. It was done. But it was very interesting that I was aware of that process and that sort of way of thinking. Then we move on, and I'm at Costco with my daughter, and my husband really likes these. Any of you are Costco goers? There's this s'more kit. If you go to Costco and you haven't tried the s'more kit, don't even bother, because it's really delicious and you'll want to keep having more of it. So you don't even need to go there. But if you know what I'm talking about, there is a delicious s'more snack pack or something like that my mom brought over one day. Anyways, my husband loves it and has been asking for it. And immediately when we're in Costco, there was I see this more. I'm not even thinking about chocolate or anything, but I visually see the s'more packs that we're about to get, and immediately comes the signal, you should have some, you want some, that's really good, you like this, are you going to have that? Is that going to be a thing that makes you go back on this challenge, right? There's this whole line of thinking that came right away, right? And because I'm so connected to this work, I know that is a biochemical response to the visual cue of the chocolate, right? That's not an actual urge or desire for me. It came up with the visual cue. Had I never seen those s'more bags, my brain is not going to be having this reaction to it, right? So I know that the visual cue caused that. And I know that I'm going to be buying the s'more bags and bringing them home. And I know that when I go home, my husband's going to open it up and he's going to want to eat some. And so here I am again, committing to the process of, okay, wait a second, stay present here. How does it feel today that you've been going through this challenge and you haven't had any sugar? And I'm checking in with myself, and it says it feels really good. I feel proud of myself for sticking with you guys. I feel proud of myself for, not eating something that doesn't even feel really worth it for me. It's making me feel really empowered. And I'm having this conversation with myself. Again, how do you want to feel at the end of the night tonight? Well, I'd like to continue with feeling empowered and feeling good like this. So we're using the tools from the first 2 weeks to implement this. This is where kind of the rubber meets the road, right? We did the is it worth a challenge? We did the how do you want to feel challenge. And now we use those two challenges to say, okay, now I've decided that I'm not going to eat sugar for a week. Can I use those tools to carry me through this this challenge. And when I stayed present and when I stayed connected to the process, it was very clear to me that, of course, yes, I could have had some of that s'more chocolate and it probably would have tasted really good. But I also know that afterward, I would have felt disappointed that I wasn't doing the challenge with you all, that, that I sort of was overcome with the urge or whatever. And so it was a very easy decision. And again, I said no and didn't have any, and it was fine, right? There was no this is one of the key things I want you to ask yourself as you're doing this challenge. There's no restriction or deprivation or, oh my gosh, why does he get to have it and I don't, or any of that, because I am in the driver's seat. I chose not to eat it, right? I'm an adult. It's right in front of me, full permission to eat it if I want. It's my decision to say, this isn't serving me. No, thank you. I am doing a challenge with my group members, right? I'm not doing that. So that was my experience yesterday. And I tell you that to say, look, I've been at this for a long time. And what I can promise you is that, does it get a whole lot easier? Absolutely. When you use these tools and you practice these tools, it gets a whole lot easier, but it's not necessarily different for me, right? So the visual cue of sugar and processed foods does the same thing to my brain as it does to the brain of somebody who's really struggling to say no to the food, right? There's the same thing. And so it's not as if when you get on the other side of this and you no longer struggle with food, it's not as if that your brain chemistry is not still prompting you to eat the food. It does. It's just that it gets easier for you to stay mindful and connected to what you want to do about that. Okay, checking out the comments here. Looks like we're all good there. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions in here. So let me know if you have any questions about this. I would love to hear your experiences with how it's going for you all this week, how it went yesterday and today. Tomorrow, I will give you the urge surfing tool to do if you're struggling, and even if you're not. It's a good tool to use. So let me know. I don't see any comments. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.